This winter session of Parliament, India is set to debate one of its most consequential energy laws in decades, the Atomic Energy Bill 2025, a bill that could open the door for private companies to build and operate nuclear power plants for the very first time in India. But why now, and what makes this reform so important? Let's understand why India needs reforms in nuclear energy laws. India's nuclear ambition is massive. The country needs to grow from its current production of 8.8 gigawatt to 22 gigawatt by 2032 and then leap to 100 gigawatt by 2047. However, all of India's reactors today, over 20 operating units, are run exclusively by NPCIL, the Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited. And here is the problem. NPCIL alone does not have the capital, manpower, supply chain depth or construction speed required to meet these targets. The government argues the private companies can bring capital, engineering capacity and global project management practices. But with no Indian private operator today, where will this workforce come from? To reach 100 gigawatt by 2047, India needs nearly 15 to 18 lakh crores in investment, according to the Niti Aayog's 2023 energy modeling study and projections from the Central Electrical Authority. However, in the 2025 to 26 budget, nuclear energy received just 20,000 crores, a tiny fraction of what is needed. Nuclear reactors require massive upfront investments, often 2 to 5 times higher than solar, wind or hydro. With limited public funds, the government says private capital is essential to scale up the sector. The proposed bill aims to reduce physical burden, diversify financing and build a long-term capital pipeline for nuclear expansion. India's nuclear projects have historically faced severe delays. For example, at Kudankulam in Tamil Nadu, units 3 to 6 have been stuck for years due to procurement bottlenecks, construction hurdles and administrative approvals. But another major reason often left out of the official documents is prolonged public opposition. For nearly a decade, residents, fishermen and activists protested over fears of radiation, environmental damage and loss of livelihood. This led to police action, FIRs and even sedition charges, further slowing down construction. Protesters across India oppose any new nuclear power plants, expansion of existing plants, and engagement of private partners due to concerns about environmental degradation from radioactive waste and hot water discharge, the risk of nuclear accidents similar to Fukushima in Japan, and the negative impact on local livelihoods, particularly fishing communities. They also cite a lack of transparency and public consultation in the project's approval, worries about displacement, and a preference for investments in renewable energy sources. The government believes private companies could help with stronger project management and streamlined supply chains, though local resistance will remain a major challenge for any operator. The bill also supports a new era of nuclear innovation. The government launched the Nuclear Energy Mission in the budget 2025 to 26 to accelerate small modular reactors, SMRs. India aims to build 5 indigenous SMRs by 2033 along with designs such as Bharat Small Reactor, Molten Salt Reactor and High Temperature Gas Cooled Reactor. Allowing private players into R&D and manufacturing could quicken innovation and deployment. India has about 76,000 tons of uranium reserves, enough to fuel just 10,000 megawatt of reactors for 30 years, a small fraction of future demand. Today, only the government can mine, import or process uranium with heavy dependence on Kazakhstan, Canada and Uzbekistan. Private participation in the parts of fuel cycle and strict safeguards could help create strategic reserves and secure long-term supply. Let's look at the liability barriers. For the private sector, India's nuclear space remains one of the toughest to enter. Under the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act CLND 2010, Section 17B allows operators to sue suppliers after an accident, raising insurance costs. The Atomic Energy Bill 2025 aims to break many barriers, amending the Atomic Energy Act to allow private participation, creating PPP and joint venture ownership models, revising liability provisions to align with global norms, streamlining multi-layered clearances, supporting R&D for SMRs, thorium reactors and indigenous technologies, expanding India's nuclear manufacturing ecosystem. If this bill is passed, it would mark the biggest shift in India's nuclear policy in 60 years. But even as the government pushes for the reform, public safety remains the most important concern. After the Fukushima disaster, communities across India in Kudankulam, Jaitapur and Kovada have expressed strong fears about radiation risks, evacuation failures, environmental damage and lack of independent safety audits. Many protests have led to police action, injuries and long court battles. Critics argue that if large corporate groups enter nuclear generation, public suspicion and resistance may grow, especially in regions where trust is government's oversight and it is already low. For the bill to succeed, experts say reforms must balance national energy needs, private sector capacity and most importantly, public trust and safety.